Today I'm going to be sharing with you my simple yet effective investing strategy for 2020 and beyond. How's it going, guys? Ryan here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my investment strategy for 2020 and beyond. And in particular, I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 key areas that I'm focusing on when I'm looking to invest. And these are some really simple yet effective tools that I'm using to choose stocks that I invest in to ensure that they have the highest probability of success possible. And as always, guys, before we get into this video, if you do enjoy it, please remember to smash that like button. It helps me out so much, guys. And if you have any comments, questions, or queries about this video, leave them down in the comments section below and subscribe for more content. And with that, guys, let's get straight into it with part number 1 of my investing strategy for 2020 and beyond. And it is to focus on long-term investments. I've dabbled in long-term, medium-term, short-term, even day trading, but my key focus at the moment is long-term investments. And this is more due to the fact that I've got a lot going on in my life due to the fact that I work full-time, I have outside of work commitments, I have lots going on. So putting my time and effort into understanding a stock and investing in it long term is going to be far more effective because I can't be there sitting day to day watching the share price increase and decrease. I purely do not have the ability to react as fast as I'm comfortable with personally. So looking at long-term investments as opposed to short-term or day trading is where my focus sits. And part number 2 is for those long-term investments, I'm focusing on the future growth and future value of stocks. In particular, I'm looking for those stocks which are now undervalued on the market and see a huge potential for growth into the future. And this is really crucial when you're looking at smaller companies because effectively what you want to be looking for is the next big thing on the stock market. That is where long-term investments are really going to pay off, analyzing their future growth and their future potential. So looking for stocks which have solid fundamentals is absolutely critical. The day-to-day technical indicators and whatnot don't really matter. It's the long-term growth that you want to focus on. So look for those companies which are performing better than their peers, which have a better potential for future growth, which have a roadmap laid out for that future growth, and see where you can really take advantage of the market. Look for, in no matter what, those companies that really stand out as being something special. Now, there's a quote that's going around, I can't remember who said it, but it's effectively along the lines of you want to invest in companies that change people's lives or change something genuinely in the world. So focus on those things which are a rarity on the stock market. Doesn't matter if it's your bread and butter type stocks, doesn't matter if it's something completely new, a completely new industry or market, but focus on things that genuinely add value to people's lives or to industries in particular if you're looking in areas more like the mining or business or financial sectors, whereas you want to be looking in the biomedical sectors, for instance, at things that are genuinely going to change people and patients' lives, for instance. So that is the key thing to look at. Future growth potential, and where are they now versus where are they here, and the pathway in order to get there. Now, part number 3 of my investing strategy is to focus on high demand, low supply stocks. So I tend to target a single industry, and for me that is the mining industry because that is what I understand. I understand minerals, the industry I work in, the mining industry, engineering, that sort of stuff. So this is my key area of focus because it's something that I know more about than other industries, and I am constantly around and learning and just generally amongst the environment and amongst the sector 24/7. So I get a better feel for what's going on, and it is a stronger area for myself to focus on. But what I'm looking for is those high demand, low supply resources. So for instance, if you have a resource which is running out in the world and as a result there's a low supply, but it is something that is absolutely critical in order to produce current items or objects at the moment and has the potential for future growth, once again, for future products and those sort of things, that's where you want to focus your interest. Because effectively, if you have a high demand and a low supply, then that means the stock or whatever the company is actually selling, so in my case minerals for instance, they're going to sell. It is going to have absolutely no issues trying to find customers for these products. And even more so, the fact that the prices to sell these will be even higher, which means that company which is producing and selling the goods, the minerals, whatever it is going to be able to sell what they're producing for a higher price, which is absolutely fantastic. And it allows you to really target niche sort of areas. And just because something is a rare resource and might not be used now doesn't mean that it might not be used in the future. As I said, look at the future growth potential of these stocks and of these companies and what they are actually doing with their resources, with their stock, and with their pathway to actually achieve an end goal in particular. Now, coming up to part number 4, and it is the management team. The management team is absolutely fundamental in the success of any company. You want to be looking for 2 key things when you're talking about the management team. So the first of which is quite obvious: experience and exposure to the industry that they're in or to other stocks in general. So what I mean by that is, are they experienced in the field? Yes, no. Ideally, yes, you want the people leading the company to actually understand what they're talking about. So for instance, a mining company where they have a CEO who is a geologist, for instance, that is a niche role for that industry, and they have a genuine understanding of the technical side of the industry that their company operates in. Now, the stock bit is more in reference to making sure that they have been successful in previous companies. So often you'll see lots of successful high-level executives jumping from company to company. But what you want to be looking for is, are those companies successful that they're moving on from? What you don't want is to see these sort of executives jumping around to companies and each company that they touch absolutely fails. This is not anywhere you want to go, and there are many people who I will not name who are notorious for doing that, and the stocks they get involved with absolutely plummet, and it purely comes down to reputation, and that is absolutely critical. Now, the second point with regards to the management is, do they have skin in the game? Have they put their own money into this company? That is absolutely critical because it gives them more of a drive for this company to succeed if they've put their own money into it, as they have a vested interest, a personal invested interest in that company itself, and gives them a personal motivator for that company to be successful, as opposed to just rocking up and getting paid their paycheck. So that is quite an interesting little point that I think you should take note of when you're looking at a company you might be interested in investing in next time. Now, moving on to my 5th and final point: low capex and low opex. These are absolutely critical once again, And I'm going to go back to the mining examples because this is the area that I understand a lot more than others. CapEx is a absolutely phenomenally large cost to get a plant running, to get a mine running, to get all these sort of companies actually up and running before they can even produce a profit or even produce cash flow in the first place. There is often hundreds of millions of dollars of upfront costs that need to be raised in order to get these companies off the ground. Instead, what I'm looking for is companies which have a relatively low capex to get started off with, and they can start effectively producing some form of cash flow in the meantime before they get their key operations underway. And effectively what this means is you're not going to see as much dilution to the existing shareholding due to the fact that the company is able to produce and sell something whilst they're building up the rest of the company. And that effectively means they're funding themselves as opposed to having to ask for loans, having to ask for shareholders to put more money in, options, all that sort of stuff. Focus on low capex startups. And obviously once they're started up, then you want to be looking for low OPEX, because the lower the operational cost of the company is to run and to produce and sell whatever they are producing and selling, means the higher the profit margin is going to be. And that is absolutely critical to the long-term future growth of the company. These companies need to start off with little to no debt, so the low capex, and they need low operating costs so that they can maximize their profits as much as possible from the get-go. And combining these two things is absolutely critical for the company's success, in particular for those smaller companies on the small, medium to micro cap type scale. Now, effectively what I'm doing is combining these 5 tips into one strategy. These are the key points that I'm focusing on, and while they may be obvious, they are the basics for building up good companies. I'm looking to invest in those companies which are currently very, very small in their sort of exploration phases that are going to be extremely valuable in the near future. Now, obviously, I'm not going to name the stocks that I'm investing in. You probably can work it out from going on some of my social media platforms. But at the end of the day, this is my strategy, and you can apply it to any industry. It does not matter what stocks I invest in, for instance. You can just take this strategy and apply it to any other industry or even the same industry and find bigger and better things. This is absolutely critical to your long-term investing success. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there for the day. And if you did, please remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Let me know down in the comments section, what are some key parts of your investing strategies for 2020 and beyond. And with that, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. See you next time. Cheers.